Hey guys, Jack here, and today we're taking a look at the new Alienware Aurora gaming PC, and also we're doing a giveaway for one of these bad boys too, and the questions will be related to the video, so make sure you're paying attention, kids. Full disclosure, this video is sponsored by Alienware and I don't get to keep this PC. And in this video I've benchmarked a few different games than I usually do for a bit of variety, and a lot of you guys were actually asking me to show you performance on some of these specific games too, and so that's what I did at 1440p as well. Every game that you're going to see in this one is running at 1440, and you can also watch the video in 1440. I think that's the sweet spot right now with the power that we've got in these gaming systems. Right then, what are we looking at here? Well, like I said, this is the Aurora. It's a mid-tower PC with big performance, and there's some very interesting features to the case which I'll show you in just a bit. But first, the specs. In here we've got an i7-6700K overclocked to 4.4 GHz and cooled by a liquid cooling unit, an Intel Skylake Micro ATX motherboard, an Nvidia GTX 1080 Founders Edition graphics card with 8GB of GDDR5X memory, 2 hard drives, one of them is a 256GB Samsung M2 SSD and the other a 1TB traditional hard drive for all your storage and games or whatever you want to put on there, and finally of course the memory, which in here is 16GB of DDR4 RAM. It's a pretty beefy gaming system packed into that case there, and it actually intakes cool air on the front and right panels with an exhaust fan on the top to push the hot air out and away from the system. There's also a handle on the top there too if you want to carry this thing around LAN or just hoik it around, whatever. It weighs around 15 kilograms, so not too heavy. You can actually lift it up with just one arm. Now the cool thing about this case is the location of the power supply and the swinging mechanism it has. You can pop the side off with no screws needed with a latch and then swing the PSU out and away from the motherboard. This makes good use of that empty space which you normally see in other PC cases, but more importantly it gives you direct access to the components inside if you want to do upgrades, clean, taste them maybe if you're into that. But the point is, this means that it's easy access to the system if you want to upgrade it in the future, and you're not going to need to use any tools for the graphics card, memory or hard drives if you want to add more, or if you want to put something like an Elgato capture card in, something like that. So it's very easy to work with. I actually managed to open it up, remove a GTX 970 and put a GTX 1080 in there in less than 30 seconds. Just remember to put the power back into the graphics card if you're doing this. Very straightforward. Even your NAN could do it. I believe in your NAN, bro. You can actually get 2 cards in here if you want for SLI, but the 1080 I think is more than adequate for 1440p. So moving on, let's see some of that gaming performance, shall we? As always with these things, I don't like running synthetic benchmarks like 3D Mark and Heaven. I like to see actual games because that's what you do on a gaming PC. And we're going to start off with Rainbow Six Siege. Absolutely maxed out graphics here with the special ultra quality texture pack turned on, so it looks great. And pay attention to the FPS in the top left hand corner being displayed by Fraps. On average there we're looking at 103 frames per second, which is very smooth indeed, especially if you're using a high frequency monitor. Moving on, Arma 3. I've never actually used this in a benchmark video before because the engine isn't very well optimized at all, but you guys always request this when I do overviews of PCs. So what you're seeing here is the game running at 1440p, and I'm pretty sure I set this to maximum settings apart from water reflections. I'd actually forgotten how nice this game can look on high graphics because whenever I play it I usually run it on lower settings to try and get 60 FPS, but when it's maxed out like this it can be a gorgeous looking game, almost photorealistic at times. Once again, pay attention to the frame rate, and this is on a multiplayer team deathmatch server. you're looking at around 40 FPS average maxed out on Arma 3 at 1440p there. The Witcher 3, beautiful game, some of the nicest sunsets and forests you'll see in a video game. It's all maxed out apart from Nvidia Hairworks, which absolutely kills your FPS, and I don't think anyone really cares about it that much, so I turned it off. Let's take a look at the performance. What about DayZ standalone then? It's a notoriously hard game to run because of the engine, but recently they've updated it with a new renderer, and guess what? It actually bloody works now. So out in the forests and open areas, we're looking at around 80 to 100 frames per second, and in Cherno and the bigger cities, the FPS was hovering around the 50s to the 60s. So if you get in a gunfight, you can still get good FPS and it's going to look pretty. Metro Last Light, I bet you didn't think you'd see this on the channel, but I think this is still one of the prettiest PC games out there, and it's really good at taxing graphics cards and PC systems because it's got this beautiful dynamic lighting and the texture quality is nuts and looks beautiful in 1440p. So let's see how it runs then. How good does that look? Beautiful game, and the Aurora will net you around 55 FPS average on maxed out settings. BF4, gotta include some cheeky BF4, haven't I? Operation Locker, 64 players, absolute mayhem. I even left motion blur on for once. Let's see how the system does.
Вражеский солдат!
So outside we're looking at about 160 FPS, and inside an average of 110. Still looks great this game, but roll on BF1 to be honest. And finally, the Hitman DX12 demo in the background at the moment, just FYI. I couldn't get Fraps to work on this, but you can make out the FPS there because I zoomed it in, and that's going to give you an idea of the performance in a new DX12 game. So there we have it. I hope that gives you an idea of the performance you can get on a system like this at 1440p. Obviously that GTX 1080 and the i7 in there, probably one of the best combinations you can get for gaming at the moment, all wrapped up in a nice little package. So then the giveaway, you can actually win one of these new Alienware Aurora systems. We've worked together and come up with a little competition. If you want to enter, the link will be down in the description below. It's a Facebook page Alienware have created with a couple of questions on it relating to this video. I don't want to tell you what the questions are, but if you watch the whole thing and paid attention, it'll be pretty easy peasy for you. So link is in the description below, answer the questions and good luck. As always, thank you so much for watching guys, I do appreciate it and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, if you didn't, a thumbs down, and I'll see you in the next one.